What is going on, football fans? Wanted to get another quick video up on the page, and in this video, I'm going to break down the New York Giants 2019 NFL schedule. And this year, I wouldn't call this the toughest of schedules, but it's certainly not the easiest. I would say it's probably somewhat in the middle. Last year, they played an absolute bear of a schedule, specifically the first 8 games. It seemed as if they were playing a Super Bowl contender every week. This year, it's a little bit different. Now, for those of you that don't know, every year you obviously play your divisional opponents twice, which makes up 6 games of your 16-game schedule. That never changes, which, of course, is the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Redskins. Then, you always play one out-of-conference division and one in-conference division, which makes up for another 8 games, 4 games for each division. This year, they will be playing the AFC East and NFC North, and then you play 2 in-conference non-divisional games, of which the division you are not playing, which would be the NFC South and NFC West. The way that is determined is where you finished in the standings. Last year, unfortunately for the New York Giants, they finished last in the NFC East, so they will be playing the teams that finished last in the NFC South and last in the NFC West. So that's a quick schedule breakdown. Now, the last time the New York Giants played this schedule is 2015, where they played the AFC East and NFC North. The 2 prior times were 2011 and 2007. So that is a good omen, because that is the last 2 times the Giants have won a Super Bowl, 2011 and 2007. So maybe it'll be good luck. We'll just have to wait and see. But without further ado, let's jump right into the schedule. Our first opponent this year is the Dallas Cowboys, which should be no surprise to anyone. It seems like we play these guys either week 1 or week 2 every year, and that's the case. If you include this year, the last 5 seasons, we have either opened the year or played them week 2, the Dallas Cowboys. And unfortunately for the Giants, in recent history, the Giants have really struggled against the Cowboys, and over the course of history, it's been the same story. The Cowboys hold an advantage of 66 and 46 over the Giants historically. Hopefully hopefully the Giants could turn the page this year and they could beat the Cowboys. The last time they fared well against the Cowboys was the last time they made the playoffs, which was 2016, when we actually swept them. The Cowboys went 13-3 that year, but 2 of their 3 losses came against the Giants. In order for the Giants to win this game, they're going to have to pound the rock, which they may very well be able to do against this improved offensive line. The Cowboys have a very good defense, so if they force Eli Manning to make 3rd and long throws, it's going to be a long day for the Giants in Dallas. For them to win this game, Saquon Barkley will absolutely have to go off. Our second week opponent will be our home opener against the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, I think, are one of the more improved teams this year. Last year, the Buffalo Bills actually had a very strong defense, which I don't think a lot of people realize. They had a rookie quarterback in Josh Allen without a lot of weapons and a very poor offensive line. As a matter of fact, it was probably the worst offensive line in football. Fortunately for Bills fans this year, they had a ton of money to spend in free agency, and they were able to bring in a lot of offensive linemen. Now, they didn't necessarily bring in superstars, but they brought in a lot of depth. I think they added 6 new offensive linemen. They also brought in Cole Beasley. They added a couple of nice weapons. And I expect the Bills to be a much improved team this year. They're probably going to be around an 8 or 9 win team. I really believe that. And this will not be an easy game. Fortunately for the Giants, it is at home, but this is a very tough defense. Of course, the history behind this matchup, the 1990 Super Bowl, these 2 teams met when the kick was wide left, and the New York Giants were able to hold on and win the Super Bowl in 1990, 20-19. Our third week matchup will be against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game will be in Tampa Bay. These 2 teams have played 3 of the last 4 seasons. They actually met last year. The game was played in New York, however, and the New Jersey, I should say, and the New York Giants won that game 38-35 in an absolute back-and-forth slugfest, which is probably something I expect similar to that this year. The Bucs still have a pretty good offense. They did lose their offensive coordinator, however, and they don't have the strongest of defenses. But this should be a fun game, and it's a game, if the Giants want any chance to make the playoffs this year, it's a game they probably have to win on the road in Tampa Bay. Our Week 4 matchup will be against the Washington Redskins. And historically, the Giants have actually had the Redskins number. They split last year. Over the course of history, the Giants have a 101-69 advantage over the Redskins. The Giants winning 3 out of the last 5 matchups. This game will be at home, Week 4. And the storyline coming into this game, if I had to guess, is probably going to be the return of Landon Collins. Collins has been talking a lot of trash about the New York Giants. They also have another former Giant in DRC. This should be a very fun game, and I think this will reignite the Giants-Redskins rivalry this year, and I'm really looking forward to it. This should be a great game, Week 4. Week 5, the Giants, in my opinion, play a very dangerous opponent, and that is the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings last year were actually my preseason Super Bowl prediction to come out of the NFC. They have a ton of talent. But they underachieved. They finished 9-7. They missed the playoffs, and a lot of people didn't see that coming. They brought in Kirk Cousins last year to a very strong defense. I think the Vikings were the top defense in football the year before, if I'm not mistaken. And, of course, they had that miracle against the New Orleans Saints where Stephon Diggs caught that long touchdown before falling short in the NFC title game. But the Vikings have a very good team this year, and this will be a tough game. But it is in New York, so the Giants probably have a decent shot to win, but it's not going to be easy by any stretch. Probably the most historical game between these two teams, at least from a Giants fan's perspective, would be the 2000 NFC title game where the New York Giants shut the Vikings out in New Jersey 41-0. We then went on to play in the Super Bowl against the Baltimore Ravens. Week 6, I mean, we don't need to talk much about history here. I mean, there is tons of history here, and it will be the first primetime game on the schedule this year. That is against the New England Patriots on Thursday Night Football. The New England Patriots, I mean, they are phenomenal, the defending Super Bowl champions. And it just seems like, though, every time these two teams play, it is a great game. And the New York Giants, of course, the last two Super Bowls they have won have been against the New England Patriots. And this very well, more than likely, will be the last time that Eli Manning takes on Tom Brady, if Eli Manning is indeed still the starter by Week 6, which I think he probably will be. This will be a very fun game underneath the bright lights in Foxborough. Patriots will obviously come in as heavy favorites. But you know what? The New York Giants always seem to play them tough. We, of course, remember the Jake Ballard game in the regular season. The Super Bowls go without saying. And this should be a very fun game to watch. I'm really looking forward to it. I have this game circled on my calendar. Week 6 in Foxborough. New York Giants versus the New England Patriots. Week 7, we will get to see the rookie phenom, the number 1 overall pick, Kyler Murray. The Arizona Cardinals will travel across country to play the New York Giants in what many would consider the toilet bowl, two of the weaker teams from last year. And this is a game the New York Giants have to win. You've got the Cardinals traveling across country to New Jersey, and they're not going to be the best of teams this year. Now, they may surprise. They may be decent. They got a new coach in Cliff Kingsbury. They have an air raid offense. They've made some adjustments to the offense and defense. But it's a game the New York Giants, if there was one game I could point out on the schedule this year that the New York Giants should win, in my opinion, it is this one. So this is a game where I feel the Giants should be favored and probably should win at home against the Arizona Cardinals. But you never know. Maybe Kyler Murray comes out and he electrifies the world, much like RG3 did his rookie season. So we'll have to wait and see. Week 8, we go to Detroit. This should be a fun game. The New York Giants and Detroit Lions have played, I think, 4 out of the last 5 or 6 years, and they split 2 out of the last 4 meetings. Detroit holds a 23-21 advantage over the New York Giants historically. The Lions are kind of one of those teams that always seems to be between like 6 and 9 wins. Matt Stafford, obviously a very good quarterback. This game could be very interesting. Some storylines. You have Snacks Harrison playing against his former team in the New York Giants. Of course, Snacks Harrison came out and said a couple of mean things about Giants fans on Twitter. I almost made a video about that today, but I decided not to. But this should be a pretty good game, a competitive game in Detroit. Detroit's probably favored, but it's a game the New York Giants could potentially win. Week 9, our second primetime game against the Dallas Cowboys. And again, obviously we play them week 1. This will be our second matchup. This one's at home, so it's a little bit more winnable. It's prime time. I'm looking forward to this one. I want to beat the Cowboys and Eagles this year. Please, can we please finally beat these guys? We have not been able to beat these guys in forever. Even last year, week 17, when the game meant nothing for the Cowboys and the Giants had that game in their grasp, they gave it away. I would like to at least beat the Cowboys once this year, and this would be the opportunity to do it. Prime time, underneath the lights, against the Dallas Cowboys. So there you go. There's your Week 9 matchup. Week 10 will be what Rex Ryan coined the Snoopy Bowl. The New York Giants versus the New York Jets. The Giants have won 5 out of the last 6 matchups against this team. And like I said earlier, the last 2 out of the last 3 times we played this team, we won the Super Bowl. And of course, it's our rival. You know, we both play in the same stadium. We all know the storylines. The New York Giants hit all the Giants banners when these two teams played, I believe, in 2011, which kind of fueled the Giants onto their Super Bowl run. That game in which Victor Cruz had a 99-yard touchdown catch. I'm really looking forward to this matchup against the Jets. Should be a lot of fun. I will be attending that game, and I cannot wait for this matchup. Week 10 against the Jets. Both teams coming in with moderate expectations, but it's always electric when these two teams meet once every 4 years. Week 11 will be the New York Giants bye. We have a very late bye this year after the Jets game. And another thing I should have pointed out about that Jets game, that counts as a Jets home game, which works out for the Giants actually, because it's almost like getting an extra home game on the schedule. We get 8 home games, and then we get to play at home against the Jets, which counts as a home game for them. So you always like it when the Jets have the home game for that matchup. Week 12, we will be going to the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears and the Giants, two of the three original teams. Well, the Giants were initiated in 1925. The Bears were one of the original teams in the NFL, but the Giants were the third member. So two of the old school teams. And I mean, when you think about these teams historically, you think defense, you think linebackers, some of the greatest linebackers to ever play, and running backs, really. I mean, the Bears have had some of the greatest running backs, Walter Payton, Gale Sayers. And this should be a fun matchup. The Giants, of course, won last year when the Bears were one of the best teams in football. Obviously, Khalil Mack came over there, added a lot to that team. The Bears should still be a very good team this year, and this is going to be a very tough game to win in Soldier Field. But the Giants and Saquon Barkley were able to run on that defense last year. It'll be interesting to see if they could do the same thing this year. The Giants ended up winning that game, but they nearly coughed it away, as you remember, obviously, when Odell Beckham would not dive for that onside kick. But should be a good game. We'll see how it goes in Chicago Week 12. Week 13, we have the Green Bay Packers coming to the Meadowlands to take on the MetLife Stadium, I should say, to take on the New York Football Giants. Aaron Rodgers, obviously, probably the most electrifying quarterback in football. Always fun to watch him play. I expect the Packers to have a pretty bounce-back season this year. They're one of my sleeper teams this year. I've been saying that for months. I love what they did in the offseason and free agency, adding some pass rushers, adding a nice safety. I think the Packers are going to be better this year. I really do. I expect them to be much improved and actually contend to win that NFC North division. It is at home, however, so the Giants do stand a chance, but it's going to be a tough one to win. If they do want to make the playoffs, this is probably one of those games, though, that you have to win. A home game against the Green Bay Packers is going to be tough, though. Week 14, our first matchup. We have to wait till Week 14 to get our first Eagles matchup, and it's going to be on prime time in Philadelphia. Cannot stand this franchise, and we cannot beat these guys. Hopefully this year we find a way to beat them. It's going to be tough. They have a very good team over there. Doug Peterson, a very good coach. They obviously added Jordan Howard in the offseason, which was a big hole for them. They had a couple of nice draft picks. And the Eagles are going to be tough to beat. There's no doubt about it, especially in Philadelphia. This is one of the tougher games on the schedule. But we'll see. Maybe it seems like whenever they play, it's always a very close game. Usually, last year it wasn't, I think, when we played in Philly on Thursday night. Actually, that might have been in New Jersey. I don't remember. But one of the games was a blowout. But usually the games are very competitive, and the Giants usually should win, but they never seem to. They always seem to outplay them on the football field, but they find a way to lose. Hopefully this year we can find a way to beat this team. Week 15, we've got the Miami Dolphins at home. A game in which I think the Giants probably stand a good chance to win. I think the Miami Dolphins are one of the worst teams in football this year. Not to say the Giants aren't, but the game is at home. And we'll see, we'll see how this one goes. But I think this is at one of the 2 or 3 more winnable games on the schedule this year. And if we want any chance to contend for the playoffs this year, that's a game we absolutely have to win. And then Week 16 and 17 divisional opponents. We'll start with Week 16 at the Washington Redskins. Of course, this is our second matchup with them this year. We split with them last year. Again, 2 of what are supposed to be the bottom dwellers of the division this year. It's a game I think we could definitely win, even though it's in Washington. It's probably a coin flip game both times we play this team this year. But the Redskins, don't sleep on the Redskins. The Redskins last year were 6-2 before the Alex Smith injury. They have a talented team. I don't think they're as bad as people are making them out to be. And I actually feel the same way about the Giants. I don't think either team is going to be able to be steamrolled this year. I think they will play competitive football. I don't think they'll be embarrassing teams this year. And this should be a fun game. Once again, Landon Collins Part 2. And then Week 17, we close it out against the Philadelphia Eagles. And if there is 2 games I want to win this year, it's against the Eagles. We have not been able to beat this team in what seems like forever, and it would be nice to close out the season with a win at home against Philadelphia. And who knows, maybe that game means something. You never know. But I'm really looking forward to this season. I hope you guys are too. I just wanted to break down the schedule and give my thoughts on it. And as always, if you liked what you watch, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.